Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's a great to be here with everybody with this wonderful technology. It brings us together. Tonight we're going to visit some really amazing moments from Exodus, the book of Exodus. We're going to visit the Song of the Sea, and that's the first prayer that Cantorial started us with. It's actually some lines from the Song of the Sea that we don't frequently sing when we sing Mi Chamocha, but they're beautiful lines, and they're kind of interesting to ponder because the Hebrew is Ozi Zimratya Vayhili Yeshua, and there's a couple of different ways you can translate it. Most of their prayer books kind of whitewash it, and they say, my strength and God's grace or God's presence will be my salvation. But one could look at the Hebrew more literally, and it really says, my strength and God's song is my salvation, which I really like better. God sings to us, and we join God, and we're part of the chorus of the universe with God, singing our songs to make the universe beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So why don't you lead us with this, Cantor?
Absolutely. And so that you can all sing along at home, we will.
It's a Shepherd's Gold chant, Rabbi Shepherd Gold.
Bring up a screen share here for everybody. Ozi v'zimratia Vayhili Yeshua 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 Ozi v'zimratia Vayhili Yeshua.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Cantorial.
Thank you.
So Shabbat is a time where we turn off everything. We really focus on being alert and being connected to ourselves and to the deeper places in the universe we want to join. You know, we're surrounded by angels through our whole life, but on Shabbat we have a special song that it's really about greeting the angels, but I like better to think it's about seeing the angels that are always there, about appreciating the angels that are in our lives, rather than welcoming angels that haven't been present. They've been present. We just didn't have the wherewithal to see them because we were distracted by all of the energies of the week. So Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hakadosh, Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
We're now going to take a minute to light the candles and bring the special light of Shabbat into the world and into our lives. It's a light that always seeks transcendence. If you look at the candles and the flames, they're always going up. They're always asking us to seek something deeper in our lives and in our world, to seek transcendent moments wherever we are.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, b'mitzvotav. Vetzivanu lehadlik ner, Vetzivanu lehadlik ner, Vetzivanu lehadlik ner, Shel Shabbat. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
There are a lot of wonderful things about having the privilege of being a rabbi. One of my favorite things is that I have the opportunity to transmit blessings to you each time we meet, just to transmit the priestly blessing to you. It's a great honor, and it's very moving for me to be able to offer people some appreciation for who they are and for what they are and for what they're doing to make the world a better place. So now offer you the priestly blessing. Andy will translate it into English. Yivarachacha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May Adonai bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May Adonai make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May Adonai lift up his face to you and give you peace.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. May everybody have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Amen.
So we're going to continue with Psalm 29, the Psalm of David, that we should thank God for his glory and strength.
Avu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Avu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, Avu l'Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, El hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, V'yeshaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayarkidem kemo hegel, Levanon v'Sirion, Levanon v'Sirion kemo ve'en remim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel layalot, Vayechesof yeharot, Uvehalo kulo, Uvehalo kulo ol merkavod. Adonai lemabul yashav v'yeshev, Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
What I really love about this psalm is it keeps saying something about the voice of God. And that voice is always calling to us. And sometimes it's hard to hear, but it's always calling to us. And this psalm, David recognized that, and he heard it. He heard it. Certain people are just attuned to the voice and hear it all the time. And I guess he heard it all the time, and he wanted to celebrate it when he wrote this psalm. So may you all hear that voice sometime this week. Sometimes.
Amen.
Just find a way to hear it. So now's our time to welcome Shabbat and welcome the idea that Shabbat's a time where the imminent presence of God is much more apparent to us. And in fact, at the end of this prayer, Lecha Dodi, we stand and welcome it. We welcome God into our lives. We welcome the recognition that God's present in our lives by inviting the Shabbat bride, who carries the eminent presence of God on her shoulders, to be with us. Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, בשם ולתפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי זמורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני אלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise if we are able for verse 9 and greeting the Sabbath bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We finished our Kabbalat Shabbat service, and now we enter Mariv, and we enter all formal parts of services by standing and acknowledging that we're a community, and we're a community that is blessed to be together and to be part of the greater Jewish world. So please stand as we say the Baruch Hu.
Yai la 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 ya la la. Yai la 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 ya la la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 ya la la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Be'olam Va'ed. המבורך, המבורך, לעולם ועד.
A prayer for a blessing for the evening. Praise to you, Adonai our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sails of the stars. Creator of tide and of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for all eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, for whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim.
Amen.
Now we proceed to one of the core prayers of our tradition, the Shema, an acknowledgement that there is only one thing. There's one thing that connects all peoples. There's one thing in the world. There's one truth in the world. And our task is to recognize that unity and to facilitate it by loving our neighbor, welcoming the stranger, and making sure that all people are cared for in society. So when we say the Shema, it's our commitment to be one with all the people in the world.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We haven't done this prayer for a while on Friday night, but I really love it, the Hashkivenu prayer. It's really a prayer that reminds us that we're always under the protection of the divine loving force of the universe that's guiding us, that's holding us in its loving arms, and it's trying to push us forward to make the world a better place, to free us up so that we can bring our best selves into the world. Even during sleep, even during sleep.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
So beautiful. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Defend us against sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, our God, watch over us. For you, our God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace forever. Beautiful.
Amen.
The words. Might be something you want to read sometime when you're having trouble going to sleep. Read the Hashkivenu prayer and know that you're being protected and you're not alone even during sleep. Now's our time for our personal and intimate moment with God as we say the Amidah. We're going to say the Amidah silently tonight, and Cantorial will bring us all back together as a Kahal as a community with Oseh Shalom. It's a time to either meditate, if you're a meditator, to read the traditional words of the prayer that's on the screen, or to formulate your own words of prayer. But please rise as we say the Amidah.
עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמרו אמן. ועל כל ישראל, אמן.
May we all find peace this week, the peaceful place to be, and find the peaceful places in the universe that are seeking our presence. Thank you, Cantor Andy. So a few weeks ago, we took a turn in the Torah. We went from reading the book of Genesis, a book that celebrates our ancestors, kind of teaches us some of the trials and tribulations of our ancestors, particularly the terrible sibling rivalries, but also the beautiful ways they resolve them. But the past few weeks, we've been reading the book of Exodus. And, Exodus is really the central narrative of our tradition. The story of Exodus is really how we define ourselves as a people. Through the centuries, Jewish people have found ways to celebrate and sanctify the liberation from Egypt. We do this by referring to it in our prayers, and probably the most frequently engaged in ritual in Jewish life is the Passover Seder, which we frequently celebrate in our homes with our friends and family. And this year we'll have our Beth Ohr Passover Seder come Passover. I can really understand why the Exodus story is so important, because it's an inspiring one. It's a story of triumph and liberation. What could be more important than liberation and triumph as a message to a small majority culture that struggled to survive after centuries of oppression, pogroms, and even an attempted extermination? But I'd like to tonight look at one of the modern lessons we can take away from this ancient story of Exodus. I think to really find this modern message, I had to go back to the Talmud and look at a midrash that was created to describe the moment that the sea parted and a nation emerged and was saved from the Egyptians. So many of you have heard about midrashim, or the process of midrash, but in case you haven't, midrash is a way that our rabbis reimagine narrative readings in the Torah, and they craft new readings that stand alongside but not replace the words of the Torah. I like to think of midrash as a story that's created to enlarge or provide a unique interpretation to some event in the Torah. So there's a very, very famous midrash about the parting of the Sea of the Reeds. The parting I also call the parting of the Red Sea. The rabbis created a story that replaced the story of Moses raising his arms and parting the waters of the sea. And it's a very sweet midrash. In this midrash, a man named Nachshon steps into the unparted waters. His family and friends are looking on and shouting, "What are you doing? Keep going." But Nachshon, he just kept walking forward without hesitation. First, the water was up to his knees. Then the water went up to his waist and chest. It appeared that he was going to be swept away and drown. But at that very moment, when the water came up to his nostrils, and not a second before, the sea split, and the people were able to walk behind Nachshon to liberation. And when they got to the other side, they started singing. We remembered their song this evening, by singing Ozi Zimrat Yah, one of the verses of the Song of the Sea. So why did the rabbis create this story about Nachshon? Wasn't the story about Moses parting the seas grand enough? What were the rabbis trying to teach us? Of course, there are many interpretations. We're Jewish, after all. So why should we have one interpretation of the midrash? One of the standard interpretations is that Nachshon's actions are teaching us about the importance of faith. Nachshon didn't hesitate to enter the water because deep inside his heart, He knew God would save him. Others look at the story and understand it as a parable that speaks to the importance of human agency in doing God's work here on earth. Only when a man showed the courage to enter the water did God partner with humanity and part the waters. I'd like to take a slightly different interpretation of the meaning of this midrash, not because I do not believe in the importance of faith or the beauty and power of our partnership with God. These are ideas that I strongly believe in. But I think Nachshon was saying something very simple to his family, friends, and neighbors, and to us today. I think he was saying, yes, we can. He fearlessly confronted a powerful and indomitable natural force of a massive sea standing before him. And God and he helped the seas part. So it was a way he was saying, yes, we can. Do not lose faith. Do not lose hope. We can all be free. These simple words, yes, we can, are so powerful and important. They were used wisely and beautifully by one of my favorite political figures, President Obama. So often in life, to avoid disappointment or failure, we tell ourselves, no, we can't. We do not believe in our own abilities to tell ourselves that some new task or idea can happen. Instead, we say it's too difficult. It's too much for us to undertake. Imagine if Nachshon did not believe or have the courage to take the first step. And Nachshon is not only one of the many Jewish heroes in our tradition, some of which remain nameless, who managed to take this first step. Many of these heroes are our great-grandparents, or grandparents and parents, who had the courage to leave their home and try and make a new life for themselves and their families here in America. When I think about this, I remember my ancestors in awe for the courage they had. Let us never forget that throughout Jewish history, the dominant cultures we've lived with have always tried to tell us, no, you can't. They told the Jewish world that they can't express their unique identity, and if they tried to persist as a sacred community, they would be harmed or punished. Unfortunately, and sadly, we're now living in one of those historical times in which the dominant culture is trying to tell us and make us believe that we can't. We can't be Jewish in a public way. We need to assimilate into the dominant culture and not express ourselves in public. We need to guard ourselves from violent intruders. When I was growing up, our synagogues never had guards, and now, unfortunately, it's become standard practice. All synagogues have guards. How sad this really is. Well, we all have a choice to make. We can retreat and secularize our lives, or we can continue to celebrate our Jewish lives in our homes and by joining in community as we have tonight. That's the big picture of what Nachshon is trying to model for us. But this idea, yes, we can, is even more powerful and important when we apply it to our private lives. It wasn't easy for me to go to rabbinical school so late in life. I went from being a doctor at the top of my craft to a neophyte, a student with minimal skills and little knowledge. When I first started my studies in seminary, most of my fellow students had been much more involved in Jewish life than I was. Many of them were already spiritual leaders of small Jewish groups, and they entered seminary because they were seeking the title of rabbi or cantor. I had a lot of catching up to do, and the coursework was challenging at times and rigorous. But I guess I was able to tell myself, yes, I can. And I kept moving forward until the metaphorical sea split, and I was ordained as a rabbi. One of the most important ways to tell yourself, yes, I can, is in our relationships with friends and family. Instead of dwelling on what you cannot do to repair a relationship with a friend or relative, somebody you've been estranged from, give it a try. Take some bold steps into the ocean of doubt and see if the waters split and the relationship can be repaired. There's nothing more important than our friends and family. The repair of relationships is what the whole book of Genesis is basically about. Jacob comes back to Esau. Ishmael and Isaac go to their father's funeral. All these relationships, Joseph forgives his brothers. All these relationships are repaired. Relationships are the jewels, the beauty in our lives. We should protect them and try and make sure that we can always repair them. And of course, I cannot leave these thoughts, this idea that we can do things even if we think they're difficult, without reminding you how important it is to support our beloved Beth Ohr community. It stood for 60 years, and its future is in your hands. You took the first step by coming here tonight. This week, spend a little time. Think of ways that you can sustain the future of this wonderful community. And please bring these ideas forward. The waters can part for us if we all take the steps needed to continue to move forward. So this week, embrace your legacy, your descendants of Nachshon. Take the first steps into seemingly unyielding forces in the world and tell yourself and the world, yes, I can. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach, Rabbi. Beautiful.
We're going to continue to say, yes, I can, because yes, we can say blessings for those who need them, who've been sick, who need our strength to try and bring them out of this terrible situation. Anyone have someone they want to remember for healing tonight? Karen, you need to unmute them.
Andy Hyman, Suzanne Joyce, Karen Harris.
Go ahead, Mike.
Cantorial, Andy, do you have someone?
My mom, Ellen, my little sister, Anna.
Joel, did you have somebody?
Yeah, Mike Burns and Chris Buchanian.
Anyone else? Oh, Bhavani. And then Polly. You need to unmute.
Bix Barnaba.
Okay.
Marjorie Lair, Barry Spiro, Ruth Markison, Trudy Strobel, Nancy Kummer, Andrea Mark, and Nancy Prauser.
Anyone else? Oh, Sherry.
Stuart Paul.
Oh, yeah, your brother, right? Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. So we're going to do the Debbie Friedman Mishaberach. You all know it. You can mute yourselves and sing it at home. Next thing that Zoom has to do is figure out how everyone's voice can be melded in Zoom. When they do that, I think it will be really an important innovation.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Lehimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mekor HaBaracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Holy One of blessing, loving energy of the universe, please bring healing to all those names we've mentioned in the room, and also bring healing to all those who don't have anyone to say a prayer for them. May they all come to wholeness. May they be able to shine their world into the light, may they all be able to shine their light into the world, to make the world a better place, to make the world whole by their presence.
Amen.
Now we're going to sing our prayer of commitment. We all want to work to make the world one, to make it so God's name is one. To please stand in body and spirit as we say the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגאי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Now is our moment to remember those who have left us, and we keep them alive through our memories, through our stories we tell about them, and through this prayer that we sing, we say together to memorialize their lives and to remember God's blessing and the wonder of God, even in the presence of our sorrow. Does anyone have somebody they'd like to remember for, as we say Kaddish? Polly.
My sisters, Diane Sachs and Diane Warco and Pat Sachs, and my father, Boris Warco.
Mm-hmm. Karen.
Rachel Furman, who I've been saying prayers for healing for some time, passed away last month, and she was Israeli and was brought back to Israel for burial.
Wow, so sorry.
Cantorial, do you have your father?
My father's sister, my Aunt Susan, passed away suddenly last Saturday.
Oh.
So thinking of her.
Anybody else? Okay, repeat with me. Yitkadal, and we can stand if you like. Yitkadal, Yitkadal, Shemei Rabbah, Yoma Divra Kirute, V'yamlich Malchute, V'chayachon of Yomachon, V'chayah Dikol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala L'zman Karim, Imru, Amen. Yeshmei Rabbam Vorach V'olam Li'ol Me'amaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'or V'yitrumam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yithaleh V'yithalal Shemei Dekudashah Brechu Leila Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechamata Ta'miran B'yama V'yimru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yol kol Yisrael. Imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yol kol Yisrael. Imru Amen.
Amen.
So before we say our final prayer, Karen, do you have any announcements you'd like to make? Anything?
I think I will just remind us that our next meeting in person will be on Saturday, February 21st.
Terrific. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we'll start to do some planning for the Passover Seder time, which, believe it or not, Passover is going to come up. And but we'll have a special Shabbat in February. We'll find something wonderful to study and pray together. So tonight, we really visited with some of our prayers and some of our ideas, the idea of the power of song. You know, we started with Ozi Zimrat Yah, this idea that God's song and our strength is all we need for salvation. And there's something very special about singing, right? I mean, when we're here listening to Cantor Andy's voice and we're singing along with him, we go to a different place. No matter what the words of any teaching is, it doesn't replace the real powerful effects that singing brings. And they crossed the sea. They could have done anything. They could have been bowing down. They could have been jumping around. But what did they do when they crossed the sea? They sang. They sang. Because song is powerful. And so you might want to think about what you're going to sing this week, whenever you feel like you need to. I love this. There's some song in a Broadway show, I don't know what show it is. It says, whenever I am afraid, I hold my head erect and I sing a happy tune so no one will suspect I'm afraid. Things from The King and I think, actually. But we're gonna end with this song that's a reminder of the power of a song, which is, how can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? I gotta sing. So please join Cantor Andy. I think, do you have the words that you can project?
I do indeed, Rabbi. Here we go.
It's a Woody Guthrie song that's been borrowed by a lot of different people. It's actually a hymn, kind of.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. Okay. My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest around me roars, I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness around me close, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I am clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? when tyrants tremble sick with fear, and hear their death knells ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? And no storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I am clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing?
Yes, how can we keep from singing? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
That was beautiful, Andy.
Thank you very, very much. We will wave goodbye to our fine friends on the live stream and wish them a
Bye,
Shabbat
friends on the
Shalom.
live
Thank
stream.
you for